You. Welcome to Mobility Monday, and my name is Jo. I'm a certified personal trainer and yogi. Not quite a yoga teacher yet, but I'm getting pretty close. I mostly teach classes that have to do with mobility and body weight strength training, so yeah, this is my favorite thing to teach. I'm just going to get started today and walk y'all through a pretty typical mobility warm-up that I might do before a lifting session. So you really don't need anything for this one. I'd say we might be using a wall, but I don't even have one of those around right now. So let's see what we can do with our body. And as far as footwear, anything else, I like to do these barefoot or with minimalist shoes, but you're welcome to wear whatever you like. So if I typically, when I go to the gym, though I'm not very much of a gym goer these days, I do like to start off my yoga practice with a little bit of mobility, cars and other active mobility drills, just to really get things going and everything warmed, everything primed for my session. Because I find that if the areas are warmed, if they are primed, I'm able to hop into the yoga pose that I want to a lot quicker, or hop under the barbell into my squat a lot easier. So yeah, I've already done my cars this morning, but I'll kind of walk y'all through the ones that I haven't done, just like I'm about to go work out today. So yeah, save this one for later if you are looking for something to do pre-workout. And this one is pretty full body, so even if you're not training full body, it's good to get in full body mobility. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this chair from over here. Awesome, I just need something to hold on to. So I'm going to start with some neck cars. I tend to get a lot of neck tightness just because I'm pretty sure I have a little bit of forward head going on when I'm looking at my phone or looking at my computer. So, okay, really think about dropping those shoulders away from the ears. Hands are going to come to fists. And then I want you to bring that chin into the chest here. The goal is to only move at the neck, so go and find that sticking point on the right side where you can't move anymore without twisting. That's where we want to stop. And then circle that head up and around, moving in a mobility range that feels good for you today. And let's do a couple circles on each side. We are in Denver, Colorado today. Probably going to be here for a little bit longer. Hopefully around a month is what I would hope for, or more. Love to be able to be here for my birthday. I think the hikes are amazing here. The food is amazing here. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And then go ahead and switch sides if you haven't already. And then go ahead and release. I like to do those because, I wake up in the morning with a good amount of neck tightness. Also, I'm constantly standing on my head because I'm doing headstands. I definitely feel tightness in the back of my neck if that's not something I release. Okay, we're going to keep where we're at. Grab hold to something. It could be a tree, it could be a wall. And then I'm going to be bringing my weight into my right foot, picking up my left leg. Foot is going to stay in close to the body here as I lift the leg, bring it up into the chest. See how high you can hold it for a second there. And then bring it to the side, trying to keep that torso nice and still as we kick that leg back behind us. Oof. Go and take this movement nice and slow. We're going to do 3 on each side. Last one. Nice. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. Picking up through that right leg, give it a nice squeeze into the chest, and then bring that leg out into abduction and kick it behind you into extension. Nice and slow. We're going to do 2 more, just like that. Ooh, it's really normal here. If you start to feel some pops, some clicks, I'd say as long as it's not painful, that means it's okay. If you do have any moments here where you're feeling some pain during the range, you can, so say for example, if I pick the knee all the way up, I feel pain, I can just avoid that area by not going as high. So we do want to avoid the pain when we first start. We don't want to train into it, because pain can really bring a physiological response of stress, so it can really kind of stop the progress in that movement. Hello, thank you for joining. We're just doing a mobility warm-up today for your life, for your session, for whatever you want it for, for your yoga. Okay, so we've already got the neck pretty warm as well as the hips. We're going to start by getting some movement into the scapulas. Okay, hands are going to come in front of us here, and then I want you to think about just moving at your scapulas here to push your arms forward and back. The head should not be moving, so make sure it stays nice and stationary. Okay, so hands are going to come out here. Core is nice and engaged as we push those hands forward, protracting with those scapulas, elevating towards the ears, retracting, depressing, protracting, elevating, retracting, depressing. These are also cars as well. These are really good for getting some scapula mobility. It's really important for us to be able to pull our shoulder blades back and down, because most of the time and most of the movements that we're doing, that is the position we want our shoulders to be in. But a lot of us, not really our faults, are doing a lot of things in front of us now because we have to for work, for life, and because of that, we're rounding. So it makes it really hard to activate these muscles. So we really need to incorporate something like this for our scapulas in a couple times a week, if not daily, to be honest. This only takes around a minute, just a couple, and then I'm just going to reverse direction here. Going nice and slow. You feel free to do this along with me today. I'm moving nice and slow. Okay, so now we've gotten our scapulas warm, we've got our neck, so we've done our scapula cars, we've done our hip cars, we've done our neck cars. So I'm going to start getting things moving now, like I would before my own session. And I'm going to start out with some Cossack lunges. They've been a jam for me for a while. Hopefully y'all can see me. So I'm going to start, feet are open a little bit wider here, and then I'm going to be stepping with my right foot, squatting, keeping both heels on the ground. Think about driving the knees out, coming into this nice Cossack squat or a side lunge, if you will. Really great for the hips. Really great for a lot of things. Nice. So we can get really specific for our warm-up based on what we want to do in our life or in our workout. But these are some really good general things. I say for most people, we need to be doing things like CARs, which are controlled articular rotation. So basically just moving our joint through its full range of motion in the moment. And that's what we just did for the first 3. I'd say those are applicable to everyone, but then depending on what you want to use your body for or what you want to improve, that's when some of these active movements would change. Whew. Let's go ahead and do around 10 on each side. Whew. Can add in a nice arm movement here as well, if that feels nice. Awesome. Awesome. Let me know if you have any questions. So once we've done around 10 of those, go ahead and release. We're just trying to get warm today for a workout, not really trying to do fatigue. Okay, next one I've been loving is horse stance. Whoop. I am barefoot, and I definitely just stepped on a nail. Yeah. My heels are really tough though. I didn't feel anything. Wow. I think I'm okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, that's how you know you've been around barefoot too much. Okay, so feet are gonna come nice and out, so we're in a nice wide squat here. Toes are kind of face outwards as well. From here, I want you to think about tucking your hips forward. So if you were to look at me from the side, I might be in this tilt, but I'm gonna tuck them in. And nice. All right, from here, we're gonna squat down, pressing those knees out, and then push into the feet to raise. So we're gonna lower and raise. Nice and slow here, keeping the bend in the knees. Keeping the breath. Let's do 10. I have found that these have been so great for my active strength in my split. So just adding these into my routine, I've gotten a lot stronger at my middle split, which is a long-term goal of mine. Also, it's just really great for getting that openness in the hips. Nice. Push into those feet. Come back up. And we're going to do somewhere between 8 to 12 of those here. Breathing. Okay. I'm going to grab a drink of water. You are welcome to do the same. The next movement is going to really open through our upper body as well as our neck. Okay, awesome. So first, let's get a nice little wrist stretch going. So bring those palms out in front of you here. Think about spreading through the fingers and pulling the hands back towards your face. We're just going to stay here for a second. These are already challenging. Breathing. And then I want you to flip those hands around. Do the same thing here. Pushing those wrists back towards your face. And then go ahead and release. You can do some circles with the wrist as well. Pops are really normal in cars in general, so if you are hearing them, very normal. We probably haven't moved into that range in a while, so as long as there's no pain, pops are fine. Okay, so bring the hands back out here and then corkscrew the hands back down and then open the hands out to the sides here. So I want you to think about dropping those shoulders back and down, just noticing how you feel in this position for a second. The goal of this movement is to think about keeping those shoulders down away from the ears and pushing those arms back behind us. Those hands, you see my hands are almost, my wrists are flipped back as well here. So keep breathing. You can stay here, or you can begin to raise one arm and then the other arm coming into like a Y position. Yep. Keep driving those hands back behind you into your Y, keeping those arms nice and straight. And then you can come into a nice T position, still pulling those wrists back behind you. I'd say hold for around 5 to 10 seconds at each one. And then W, bending at the elbows here, pushing those arms back. And then L, bend a little bit more. And keep the breath. And then go ahead and release. We're going to do one more just like that. If I were doing this for a mobility workout, I could probably repeat it a couple more times. Whereas pre-workout, I'd probably only do it once or twice, depending on where I was at with my mobility that day. I kind of use mobility as something that I use to check in with how my movement is going. So if I get to the second or third drill and I'm not really feeling that openness, I might need to do a little bit more, or I need to find a mobility movement that's going to achieve what I want. So I might just have to spend a little bit of time. Like for me, been in the car for probably around, I don't know, it's been like a week or more now, it feels like. And so I'm a little bit tighter in some areas, so sometimes we just have to spend a little bit more time to get ourselves ready, if that makes sense. Okay, start from where we're at. We're gonna move back, bringing those wrists behind us. We're in this nice little T position here. Keep driving those hands back, wrists back, shoulders down and away from ears. And then you can lift one arm into this Y position, and then T again, W, and then L. Bend those arms a little bit into your chest. Ideally, we want to hold for around 5 to 10 seconds here on each one. And then we're going to go ahead and release. It's okay, baby. Oh, you're pestering the birds or the squirrels. We'll take some circles with the shoulders. That might feel nice here. I like to just add those in. Okay, so hips should be moving nice and good. You know, shoulders also are getting there. But I'm just gonna head on down to the ground for the next one. I always like to do some core movements, especially before lifting with barbells or weights, because sometimes our hips aren't in a nice neutral position. Sometimes we start off in this nice anterior tilt, which is really common. Heeled shoes, there's a billion reasons, but there's so many reasons why that a lot of us end up this way. But either way, it's really important for us to activate our core, activate through our lower spine here in order to bring everything in and to create a really strong base for throwing weight on top of, especially if you are doing that. Okay, so let's come on back down to the floor. I'm gonna get into a nice cat-cow position, and then I'm just gonna start by just doing cat-cow at my hips. So inhaling into cow, exhaling, just that lumbar vertebrae tucks under into posterior tilt here, and lift and hold. I like to hold this for 5 to 10. Lift and hold. You'll really feel your core turn on just doing it in this area here. Lift, hold, and lift. All right. I don't spend very much time on the anterior tilt as much because most of us know how to do that one pretty well. You might even notice that your body just sits into it very nice. So I spend most of my time here keeping those arms nice and straight, pressing into the ground, and pulling that belly button into spine. Okay, go ahead and release. Now we're going to check how our stabilization of our core is working today. So see if you can extend one leg behind, keeping this back nice and flat, flexing those feet towards the floor, and then see if the right arm, the opposite arm can raise and breathe here. And then other side. Pick up through that opposite leg, flex those toes down. We don't want this here. We want a nice flat back. So if that means we don't need to raise our leg as high, then that is good. All right, and then we can raise opposite arm as well, holding, grounding, and then go ahead and release. Okay, so we could do a couple more rounds of those if you'd like to get a little bit more warm before your workout, but that is a great place to start. The next thing that I like to add in, that I probably add in before every one of my sessions, I think it's a great thing to do for my wrists and also just my upper body. It's just a good one, okay? So we're gonna be coming into this nice little stretch I like to call lawn chair. So wrists are gonna face towards the body, feet are gonna come to the floor, and then we're gonna lift the hips up like we're driving into like a half plank here. So this can be you keeping the hips nice and close to the ground, or we can begin to press into the hands and lift a little bit higher. Keeping the breath. Awesome. A couple last breaths here, and then we're gonna go ahead and release it down. Same idea, same reverse plank, except this time this one's a little bit more advanced, so take it nice and slow. Check in with your body to make sure this one is good for you today. And then we're gonna bring the hand behind. This hand can face towards the body or away. Feels better if mine faces away. And then we're gonna pick up through the hips, spiral my chest, and then pretend I'm like doing a one-arm bridge. Doesn't have to quite look like mine. Can look a lot more similar to this. But as you work up to it, you can literally get yourself prepped for your bridge pose. Driving into the feet, keeping those glutes nice and active. And then you can switch sides. This is where that I could probably go into my bridge now if I would like to, which is, let's see how our warm-up did today. Yeah, the warm-up was pretty good. I know I've done a pretty good warm-up if I can just pop up into a bridge. Nice. That part is definitely optional, but it's definitely really fun. Okay, awesome. So upper body's really warm, core is really warm if you ask me. Lower body, we've done quite a bit at as well. So the next thing I want to do is get those feet nice and stretched out, get those ankles nice and good. Okay, so typically before a lift, I always include squats. Hello, thank you for joining if you're joining this right now. We're just doing a mobility warm-up for your workout or for your life or for your yoga practice. Okay, so I'm gonna bring a chair close by. It's really best to have a wall, but this chair is gonna work wonderfully for me today. I just stepped on like a rusty nail, so I'm not gonna take my shoes off like I normally would. Okay, so foot is gonna come up to the base of the chair or the wall, and then keeping the heel down, I want you to touch the knee to the object. This feels pretty easy. Then you can start to bring your foot away from the base of the wall, from the base of your chair, but keep driving that knee into the ground. Moving nice and slow here. You see how my ankle wants to come up, my heel wants to come up. Do around 10 to 20 of these. If your heel keeps coming up, scoot your foot a little bit in a little bit more. These are great for the ankle, great for the calf, but really help us with our ankle dorsiflexion, which is getting that knee over the toe, which a lot of us struggle with. I think because of shoes. I think because of heeled shoes. That's my own opinion, or fact, I'm not even sure if I've heard that from someone or not, but go ahead and switch sides. But I know that when I train with shoes, it like band-aids my ankle to not have to do this work for itself, because it relies on the heel of the shoe to help it into the movement. So for me, I used to run a lot of my life. I used to do cross country and track, and I ran a lot with these heeled shoes. And I wish I would have been broken down how to walk, how to run without needing the shoes to help me compensate for my shitty ankle mobility. That's all I'm gonna say. But you know, that's not something they knew a lot then, at least not when I was in 6th and 7th grade. So, ooh, I'm all kinds of dirty. All right, go ahead and do 10 to 20 here, touching the knee. The other leg doesn't matter, so I always have clients that ask me, what about the other leg? We're really just focused on that front leg here, making sure that knee tracks over the middle of the toe, keeping that heel nice and down. Okay, awesome. So we've already done some work into our ankles. For me, I'd probably have to add in a little bit extra ankle work. Let's see, let's do an ankle stretch, so you can bring the foot this time to the chair and just stretch into the back of the ankle. For me, my limiting factor in all of my mobility is my ankles, so yeah. Have to add in a little bit extra sometimes. And then switch sides. Feel free to hold a stretch like this for around 30 seconds to 2 minutes, really. Bring in that breath. Okay, awesome. So that one is a pretty complete warm-up. I can't really see my phone anymore because it got really hot over here. I'm gonna pop down in the shade for a second to answer any questions that anyone has. But yeah, that would be a great thing to add in before a workout, before a yoga session, before, a day in your life, just so you can get the body moving a little bit better, feeling a little bit better, making life a little bit more effortless, and, really just getting away those nagging aches and pains, which we really don't have to have if we spend 5 to 30 minutes a day working on our mobility. They really go away very quickly